Can I mix these? Now, for those that don't have the time, I'll tell you straight away. Yes, you can. Thanks for watching and goodbye. See you next time. So then, what makes these so wonderful, in my humble opinion? Well, simply put, they display everything in a very cold, unflattering, analytical manner. They're absolutely brutal. These are to sound files what a magnifying mirror is to that spot on the end of your nose. But somehow, despite being analytical and cold, they still manage to present the sound in a very pleasant manner. If, and it's a very big if, the source material has been mixed and mastered properly. If it hasn't, then listening to these is like being thrown in a frozen river absolutely naked. And good luck with that. But for our purposes, that's absolutely perfect. We want to hear it as it really is. And one of the really good things about these headphones is no matter what you listen to your mixes on afterwards, they do seem to translate right across the board. It doesn't matter what you listen to, whether it's the laptop speakers, your TV, a car stereo, always a good one, a tiny little USB box, whatever, tiny earbuds, different headphones. The sound from these tends to translate right across the board. You don't really have to look out too much for anything nasty. There are a few caveats, nothing's perfect, and these aren't, but they are pretty damn close. And I think it's fair to say that you'd get a better mix with these than you would with a pair of monitors this big, pretending to be professional monitors, when they're no such thing. So let me try and describe the sound. I think it's important. Practically impossible to do, I know, but I'll give it a go. Right, the high end. The high end on these, some people might tell you it's super smooth. I don't think so. I think it's bordering on the harsh at times. There's a very prominent lift around the 2K, 7K mark, and on a vocal that can really bring out the sibilance in things. You can hear clicks and pops that you probably wouldn't hear on other headphones, which once again is a fantastic thing because you can take them out with our digital audio workstations. Vocals tend to sit perfectly there. Even guitars. If you were to, play around with the high end of an electric distorted guitar, they're not known for their friendliness at those levels. Even they sound pleasing and they sit in the mix. You can hear where they're sitting. And nothing's putting a dagger in your ear like this. So in that respect, they're fantastic. I can't think of anything wrong with the highs whatsoever. So if you get it right in the headphones, you're probably right across the board. However, here's a caveat. That 2 and 7K lift, it tends to make things in that range sound a little bit louder than they are. The EQ's fine, you don't have to adjust the EQ, but when you listen to something on the monitors afterwards, that 2K, 7K lift can make things sound much louder in these than it does on speakers. It's very subtle, and it's something you have to learn. You just get used to it. You know that it's not going to be as loud as that on any speaker system. It's so subtle, probably a dB, not even that. But, you do notice it. But other than that, the high end, absolutely perfect. Before I forget, another thing with the high end. These things have the most incredibly wide sound stage. If you pan anything hard left, hard right, your ears can sound this far apart. It is absolutely fantastic, actually, especially when you're listening to classical music. But the problem with that when you're mixing is that stereo reverbs can sound absolutely brilliant when they're panned that wide apart. However, it might be a good idea to press the mono button on your DAW to make sure that reverb that sounds fantastic, your Albert Hall reverb on the snare, Doesn't sound like a teaspoon banging around in a kettle when you narrow it down, because I've been called out quite a few times like that, and it is something to watch out for. But once again, you know, with practice, you will get it right. There's nothing wrong with the high end on these whatsoever. Now, the mid-range. Now, look, for argument's sake, let's say the mid-range starts at 250 hertz and goes all the way up to 2 kilohertz. Let's say there's a few subcategories in between, but it doesn't matter on these, because if you ask me, the mids on these are fantastic. Are they perfectly flat? No, they're not. They dip around the 800 hertz mark, but other than that, they're absolutely wonderful. In fact, using these headphones has taught me the importance and beauty of the mid-range in any recording. It's where everything happens. It's where all the colour is. And on these, it's flawless on this, I think. I do a lot of rock music and I use a lot of distorted guitars. You can listen to some of the tunes in the links below. I'll put some up so that you can hear what I've done with these headphones. And it's flawless. What you hear in the mid-range with these is what it is. And I don't think there's any other sound reproduction device of this price that gives you the mid-range as accurately as these do. Absolutely fantastic. But now we come to the bass, the low end. And I did mention caveats earlier, and I have to say this is a big one. And this might sound like I'm contradicting everything I've said about these headphones, because I love them. But the bass, it's incredibly light. It's very clean, and it is there. It really is there. It's not like it's been wound off completely, but it's not full pumping, pounding bass. If you mix anything like EDM or hardcore reggae, some really heavy bass driven stuff, I guarantee if it sounds good in these, when you play it on your car stereo, the doors in your car will buckle and then just fly off their hinges, because the bass will be just like... I don't know what it is. I think perhaps they dialed back the bass response on these headphones a little bit to make more of a demarcation between the bass and the mid-range. So there's more of a prominent boundary, so it doesn't spill into it. That's the only pseudo-technical explanation I can give. But I'm tempted to say that perhaps AKG got it wrong. And I say that because if you listen to the bass response on their subsequent K series headphones, that drawback, shall I call it, it isn't there. And that's a bit of a shame. I mean, obviously you can EQ your DAW to make up for the deficiency, shall we call it. I don't like to do that. What I do, I use another pair of headphones, which I might do a video about later on, to get the bass absolutely right. And once that's done, I do everything else with these. And that's how I pretty much get my sound without monitors. It's a shame, but once again, you learn to live with it, and you pretty much, you can work around it. It's not too much of a big problem in the end. You do get used to it. That's the problem with the bass. But other than that, absolutely fantastic. So, can you mix on these headphones? Absolutely, yes you can. You do have to take your time to learn them. I don't think you're going to get excellent results down at that low end first time round, but from 250 hertz all the way up, you're pretty much there, you know, if you just pay attention to those small pointers that I made earlier on. For the money, they're fantastic. I mean, if you don't own a pair of these, I think you should anyway, just to give your mix another reference point. 130 quid online, you won't go far wrong. Okay then, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's useful to you. And if it is, you know the drill. Hit the subscribe button, leave your comments in the comment section below. Ask me a question, I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, and if you like what I do and you're feeling generous, you know, you can donate to my Patreon and PayPal accounts. Links will be in the description below. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you again. Ciao for now.